Here in Littlejohn Coliseum, the Clemson Tigers get a visit from a Big South foe. The Radford Highlanders are in a Saturday afternoon battle. And hi, friends, and welcome aboard. Along with Kelly Gramlich, Pete Hannity with you. Not only a Big South foe, but the team picked to win that conference this year, the Radford Highlanders. They certainly are a tough opponent, to say the least, and they do a great job beyond the arc offensively. That has been a real issue for Clemson on the defensive end.
The three is always important, but today it's especially important. Radford shoots 41% from beyond the arc. That's 14th nationally. Clemson just 31%, and the Tigers have struggled to defend the three. That's going to be a key this afternoon.
And, of course, Mississippi State made 19 three-pointers as the Bulldogs down Clemson last week up in New Jersey. Now, this Radford team is more than just your typical mid-major, and they kind of began fueling that notion all the way back to last year. But earlier this season, they got a victory down in Austin, Texas, a place, Kelly, you're familiar with, when they went in and knocked off a nationally ranked Longhorns foe.
They held Texas to just 5 made threes, beat the Longhorns 62-59 on their home floor.
First ever win for Radford against a ranked team. Then they went into ACC country prior to that and beat Notre Dame.
They did. They rebounded the ball really well against Notre Dame. Another low possession game. They're obviously not afraid of the big stage.
And they are now 3-33 all-time against the ACC. All of this for this year was fueled at the end of last season. That was in the Big South Championship game. Carly Jones, the winner for the title against Liberty. And Radford had themselves their third Big South Championship, a Highlanders team that would then go on and win their first ever NCAA tourney game. And they beat Long Island University in the first four. Well, Carly Jones, among others, have returned to the roster this year. And he comes in his second year in uniform for these Highlanders, leading them in scoring.
What a shot you just saw earlier from Carly Jones, the Big South Freshman of the Year last year. He's taken his game to another level, averaged about 12 points per game last season, 16 this year, and 2 games where he scored 20 or more. He is going to fuel that offense for Radford today. And then, of course, for Clemson, the story is Eli Thomas. With Marquise Reed out, Eli Thomas is the go-to guy for the Tigers. He's 8th nationally and 1st in the league in field goal percentage, hitting nearly 70% of his shots, 18 points last time out against Mississippi State. And these last 3 games, it feels like Eli's back on track. He's healthy. He's ready to go. He's averaging 17 points per game over the Tigers' last 3 contests.
Mike Jones has done a nice job turning things around at Radford in his 8th season. He says he didn't think it would take 7 years to finally win that Big South title like they did last year, but he's got it going now. He's got a very solid team, and thus they are picked to win it again this year. He is a son of a former ABA player. His dad, Jimmy, had a long career in that league. And Brad Brownell, well, a win today ties him for 2nd all-time at Clemson with Bill Foster as the Tigers head coach chases another victory at the helm and looking to build on his overall mark. He's getting close to 325 career wins.
And one thing to notice here as the starting lineups take the court, Clyde Trapp getting the start for the injured Marquise Reed. He came off the bench in Clemson's game against Mississippi State, but he's moved into the starting lineup today.
Brownell, 155 victories at the helm of Clemson, now in his 9th season. Opening tip, Eli Thomas to jump against Naudau Sala, and the Tigers will have it first. You see Amir Sims run the ball down. We just heard his sister do a wonderful rendition of the national anthem. What a great job she did. Skora. Sims thought about it. Clyde Trapp getting the start today, and tucked in it is. It'll go the other way. Only player I remember who had eyes in the back of his head, at least, was described this way, was Larry Bird. That's the only one I think we could ever perhaps suggest that.
I think that's a safe, that's a safe analysis there.
His ability to pass. Now another opportunity for Trapp. No, Thomas inside to beat the shot clock. Good recovery that time. Clyde Trapp missed everything, but there was Eli Thomas. Tigers lead 6-0.
Just to see if they can force Clemson into some mistakes and make them uncomfortable offensively.
The attention you'd mentioned that Thomas is going to draw, you figure it'll help out someone like Skora, and so does the backboard. Helps Radford get the ball back. Quick pass underneath. Butts, defended by Tyson. Ooh, a little fadeaway. That might remind his coach, Mike Jones, of what his dad, Jimmy, used to do in the ABA when he pulls up the old film of that. A nice shot by the sophomore Butts out of D.C. Back to a 1-point game. Is that one going to count? It will. And the foul is called. Shelton Mitchell head of the line. Nice job by Shelton at the elbow.
And we just saw that Javen White play. We saw that play from Shelton Mitchell. It's mental right now. Those are unforced errors. That's nothing that's Radford's doing that's forcing Clemson to make those mistakes. It's purely mental.
Teams have combined for 13 turnovers. That was the 7th in the Tigers. Radford has 6 points off of turnovers to none for Clemson. Feed to Holland. Underneath. No, but the follow by Polite. That's why he is a first-team All-Big South player. Really athletic mid-major guy.
With how Clemson shot the ball so far, just 33% from the floor, you got to get some offensive rebounding. So that's huge from Trapp to give Clemson another possession.
Coming up on 3.5 to go in our opening half. Mitchell, step back. And Shelton Mitchell, that'll go for 2, but another big bucket by the Tigers senior. Tied up here late in the first half, just the 4th meeting all time between the Tigers and the Highlanders of Radford out of the Big South. But there are some very deep ties between these two schools. And in fact, if you look at the 1991-92 team picture of Radford, the fellow on the extreme far left is Dr. Ron Bradley. To his left is one Donald Dick Bender, currently a Clemson assistant. He spent 6 years on the staff at Radford and helped Ron Bradley build a Big South championship team that they were able to win their first ever conference title and get their first ever NCAA bid in 1998. Dick Bender at the foundation of that, of course, a longtime lieutenant of Brad Brownell. And left elbow this time. Shelton Mitchell picked a good day to be feeling it. Tigers with a 1-point lead on the Radford Highlanders. We're getting ready for our second half to begin here in Littlejohn Coliseum. We welcome you back in with Kelly Gramlich, Pete Gannady with you. A Radford team that's done the things we thought they would do and the Tigers were anticipating. Tell you this, Carleek Jones, their leading scorer, the sophomore guard who was the freshman of the year in the Big South a year ago. He's from the Cincinnati area, not far from UC or Xavier, or even Northern Kentucky or Dayton. And some of those schools, Miami of Ohio, have to be wondering maybe they shouldn't have let him get out of town.
Yeah, you probably should not have passed on Carleek Jones. He's shown us that he can really score the ball today for Radford. And look at how he attacks the basket. He's so crafty inside. He's just 6'1", but he finds a way to use his body. And there's a mid-range jumper. He's done his damage inside. He finds a way to get around those big men, use his body to shield off defenders and score. And then this play especially, attacking the basket, challenging Eli Thomas and getting the bucket. Carleek Jones with 7 points for Radford in that first half. And here's Shelton Mitchell. Mitchell, 15 points for Clemson. He has been their offense in the first half. Got it going early with the mid-range. He's been very efficient from the mid-range. And then also knocking down the threes. 2 threes for him on just 2 attempts. He's yet to miss a field goal attempt, Pete. 6 for 6 from the floor. A lot of that coming from the mid-range. He's been tremendous. And then you see here, a defensive play for Mitchell. He's denying the ball, and he's called for a foul. Not happy about that, but still, I think Coach Brownell happy with the aggressiveness on the perimeter.
And Shelton Mitchell wasn't laughing just then because he thought it was funny. It was more out of disbelief, and you see the battle of the backcourts. And Shelton Mitchell, note those 15 points. That moves him now within 10 of 1,000 points in his collegiate career, which began at Vanderbilt.
Especially with a team like Radford that shoots over 40% from beyond the arc.
Boy, what a nice drive that was by Carleek Jones, and he's getting close to double figures. Radford Highlanders, a 5-point lead. You see Ron Jersa, one of their assistants earlier in the ball game. We talked about the different connection between Radford and Clemson coaching staff. Well, Ron Jersa doesn't have a connection necessarily to the Clemson staff, but he does to Littlejohn Coliseum. It was in this building that he coached his final game as the head coach of the University of Georgia in the NIT back in the 98-99 campaign. You may remember that was Larry Shyatt's first year. The Tigers went all the way to Madison Square Garden and played for the NIT title. But Jersa, who had the task of replacing Tubby Smith at Georgia, he was in his second year as head coach but did not return. He later went on to guide Marshall, and he's been an assistant now at Radford in his 4th season. But you would suppose when he came into the building today, perhaps that memory struck him. Tigers need to get going. They've been working hard all day, but not a lot to show for it. But look at Skara, and he's allowed to hang on the rim to avoid injury. And David Skara ties us up, or I should say brings Clemson back within 2 at 45-43. You figure he's averaging over 30 a game is going to be tough to beat. No, that time for Salah. Newman pulls it down. Here come the Tigers looking to tie or go back in front. Sims, and he banks it in with a hand in his face.
And Amir Sims, he has to be more aggressive, as we've said, with Marquise Reed out. And you see that play there. Sometimes he settles for the 3 a bit too much. He's got to use his size inside, and that was a great attack by Amir Sims.
Only averages about 11 points a game, but he comes up with big baskets for them. 58 all. Mitchell, and he gets the roll inside. Shelton Mitchell building on his game. He now has 20 points. He's just 5 away for 1,000 in his career. David Scarra had a dozen points last Saturday. So far today, he's gone even better than that.
Clemson's second leading scorer right now in this game, attacking the basket. He's really scoring from all three levels. Here's that putback from earlier. On the offensive rebound, he's knocked down a couple threes. He's been good from beyond the arc. He's also grabbed, as we said, a couple big offensive boards. And then here's the charge that gave Clemson the ball back and a little bit of momentum as the Tigers lead by 2, nearing the 3-minute mark.
Scarra has matched his Clemson high today with 16 points. He's just 1 point shy of his college high. That came when he was playing at Valparaiso against IU South Bend. So a big defensive possession, but also a big offensive possession from the Tigers' standpoint. Trapp to the basket, and he gets it to go up and in. What a nice move by Clyde Trapp out of the timeout. Tigers in front now by 5. Clemson will simply dribble it out, and the Tigers a hard-fought 8-point victory this afternoon against the Highlanders of Radford. Radford had beaten just 2 ACC teams over the years. They were trying to get their second ACC win. Meanwhile, that guy, Brad Brownell, win number 156 at Clemson. Congratulations to him. He ties Bill Foster, the great Bill Foster, for second all-time in wins at the helm of Clemson, and Brad Brownell adding to his very good record here.
I know he's happy to get this win over a good Radford team. 4 Tigers in double figures tonight. David Scarra, 16 points, was really good in that second half. And Shelton Mitchell helping fill that void that Marquise Reed left offensively. 20 points for him and 2 threes for Shelton Mitchell.
Tigers improved to 7-3 on the season. Radford falls to 6-4, and Clemson now 4-0 all time against the Radford Highlanders.